Good morning to all my friends out there in YouTube land, Facebookville, and I think we have LinkedInburg with us today. It's your good buddy Philtastic, and welcome to Last Week Today Live. So all my last weekers, it looks like everybody's kind of filing in here. I had to bounce out of Brian's show about 15 minutes earlier, so I don't know, 15 minutes ago rather. So I don't know if his show is still going on or not, but let's see who we have here. Mr. Las Cruces from New Mexico. First in, hooray, welcome. Yes, hooray, wahoo. And Wellbore, here you go. So we've got New Mexico and we've got Canada. So one south, one north, southwest. Cuppy, how are you, sir? Three good nerds, how are you today? And let's see, Nerdy Weds. Everybody, give Nerdy Webs a sub if you haven't already. It's a nice channel. They are very, very close to, I believe they said the 1K landmark or milestone. So go ahead and do that. And I mean, everybody here so far was on Brian's channel, so you kind of heard that already. I appreciate that, Wellbore. Fanboy, how are you? Victory again over Neil with the yellow covers this morning. Neil's got to bring the wig back. I don't know if I could, in good conscience, vote for Neil without that wig. I don't know. That's my line in the sand there. Is Phil going to show us his favorite Tarzan poses? This kind of took a turn. I think it's a little too early for that. As you can see, I have not replaced the tripod yet. I actually got the one I was talking about last week to work, but it just does not work very well. I was trying to record a video earlier this week with it, and it just kept shoom, shoom, and it was on the tightest setting it could be. So that is going back to Amazon hopefully soon, and I'll replace that. I'm not really in a rush because, as you may have seen in the description for the video, we are on baby watch. Yep, we are officially 38 weeks. Hey Ryan, how are you? We are officially 38 weeks as of yesterday, and yeah, Comic Cap, how are you? Yeah, things have gotten a little. There's been a couple times where, like, all right, what's going on here? Do you feel this? Do you feel that? Okay, no, we're still good, but yeah. So that's why I said, look, this can happen at any time now. Yeah, we're just kind of hanging out and waiting. Even if my wife was a little nervous about me even doing the stream this morning, she said, "Well, what if I have to go when you're streaming?" I was like, "Well, I say goodbye to everybody. They'll understand, and we'll go from here." So yeah, right now, like I said, we're on baby watch. Nothing yet. Little guy just went to bed, and my wife is resting right now too. So it's just me. But Wellbore, I do appreciate the good morning to everybody. So that's what's been going on with me all week. And if you've noticed, yeah, over the past month, I've been a little bit slow as far as videos goes and channel stuff. I will say this: I have started finally sending out giveaways from like last month. So Zach's just went in the mail yesterday. Three Good Nerds. I am tweaking yours a little bit. There's a little surprise in there I'm not quite finished with. And then finally, I could finish up with Trev's. And at that point, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the changes that I'm going to be making on the channel, one of which has a lot to do with giveaways. They may be for the good, they may be for the worse, but we shall see. Before I get to the topic today, I'll just say no new pickups. I didn't go to the store. I'm probably not going to be able to get to the store at this point until after the baby's born, only because I need to be here. My wife is having trouble physically moving. So, you know, I don't want to be 20 minutes away and she calls me like, hey, we got to go to the hospital. So I've been here. You know, even going to the grocery store, there's a little bit of, you know, nervousness with, because it's like, okay, well, at least I'm right around the corner. But I have finally had some stuff come in from New York Comic Con. I think the last package just came in yesterday. Um, Daredevil, how are you? No, I see you doing. I haven't checked it out yet, but I saw you doing some great stuff on Whatnot. So hopefully you're all well. And thank you, no problem. And look, we all get busy. I was just talking about that, so it's no issue. Yeah, so I'm going to be doing that unboxing shortly. I did actually record another unboxing. I'm going to be releasing that Monday. I was going to do it yesterday, and I was like, let me just, you know, do it during the week here. And I'm hoping at least that I'm either going to do one or two things. I'm not 100% sure with. Um, I might prepare all my cover art and everything for the shows now or this weekend, and then presumably if we wind up going in either tomorrow or Monday, bring my iPad with me and kind of doing some recording, or if time allows, doing some recording between today and tomorrow. Just having everything edited, saved on YouTube, and ready to go, so that this week you'll get bombarded with content, whether you like it or not. I should say that. But I can tell you, we do have an unboxing, at least that is saved and ready to go. A great one from Reggie. Really surprised me, and that was really cool. So check that out on Monday. I do have the second part to my art story already recorded. I have to edit that still. I was surprised as many people saw that as they did. To be honest, when I was watching it, when I was editing it, I should say, I was like, this is so boring. Nobody's going to want to see this. But I'm happy that you guys got at least a little peek into that. And I still have to show off my artwork as well from Italian American Heritage Month and Battober. And there is a review I've been waiting to do for a very long time. Um, hey, Paul, how are you? I hope you're doing good. Yeah, I think we all have that. I think you're right. I think we all have that inkling for a minute as a kid. My wife has joined us. Want to say hi to everybody?
Hi.
How you feeling, honey?
Okay.
Just okay? What are you feeling?
Tired. Nervous.
Tired, nervous, anything else?
Swollen.
Swollen, yeah. Manny's here. Hey, Manny.
Just out of it.
Yeah, so she's just a little bit of brain fog. Yeah. I did have time to sit down and read two comics this morning, so I'll talk about that too before this morning. Excuse me, this week. So we'll talk about that too before we get into the topic. Neither of these my wife is familiar with. One I don't think she would care for. One she might. Um, First one is from Image, and you know the show by now. If you don't, I'm perpetually behind. So these are not new releases. Nocterra, number 16. This was the conclusion to the main story, even though they're kind of teasing that it may not be done with. I kind of hope it is. Nocterra has very much been, I think, a COVID read for all of us. It started in the middle of the pandemic when everybody was, kind of looking for things. It was one of those first kind of frenzy books that I know quite a few people went out and tried to get all the number one variants for. Um, the series itself for me has kind of ebbed and flowed. Cuppy's here. How are you, Cup? I think I said hi to you already. Never mind. Well, I'll say hello again anyway. There we go. Um, it has been kind of classic Snyder where, he tells this big action-packed story, but he's also very good at focusing in on some of the smaller stories. And the smaller stories, I think, when put together, the things that really make a good story great. Um, one thing I do really enjoy about Nocterra, if you look at it from how it started and how it's ended, and I'm not giving out any spoilers here, is you really learn that it wasn't so much um, Nocterra's story. Hey, Neil, how are you? We were talking about how your lack of wearing a wig today may have affected you winning the cover battle, but we'll see. Um, yeah, it was really more of Emery's story, if anything, at least the way I've read it. And, when you put everything into that perspective, yeah, I think it was very kind of well done. Um, Again, I thought it was a good ending. Not giving it away. And I know that there's discussion. Well, it may not be over. Hey, Joffrey, I hope it is over. I really do. It's not that I have any issue with the story in itself or anything. Obviously, it's just okay. I think you found a good place to end it. Just put a period on it, and I don't know, go from there. Tell me what you guys thought. In the meantime, I'm just gonna. My wife hasn't read any Nocterra. I'm just gonna see what her thoughts are. There's a whole thing between light and dark.
I'm not really familiar with it.
She's not impressed at all. I was like, okay, that's fine. So yeah, like I said, good ending. Wouldn't say great ending. Please just end it there, Scott. Oh, you're hot. Or you have a okay. My wife was waving her hand. She's just hot. I thought she had a comment for it.
No.
Speaking of endings, I should point out if you caught my interview not this past Monday but the prior Monday with Anthony Desiato, he did release the ending of his podcast just a couple days ago, November 1st. If you haven't checked it out yet, I do recommend you do so. It does take a little bit of a time investment, but like I listen to a lot of podcasts while I'm doing something else. You know, I can't just sit down and focus anymore. Like you're not going to see me just sitting in the living room like this. Like I'm listening to a podcast now. If I try to do that, I'm probably going to fall asleep.
But everyone is different.
Yeah, everyone's different. Good point. I used to listen to a lot more podcasts when I was actually commuting to work. You know, I had a commute that could last anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and 20.
I remember those days.
And that's just one way. And it's
Sirius XM.
Yeah, well, that and Sirius XM, yeah. That's how I got through those commutes. But towards the last year or two, it was more, I have to say, podcasts and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, go check that out. Great, heartfelt journey coming to an end. It was just very well done. And really, Anthony displays, I think, a lot of things that any content creator can pull something from to make themselves, I think, a little bit better, in my opinion. Let's grab some water here. All right, the next thing I read was Rumpus Room #1. Thank you. Excuse me. So yeah, this actually came from a recommendation. I can never think of the channel name. Hold on a second. Oh, from Indie Comic Reviews. He and Marcus do a show Wednesday evenings. I think about, I want to say 9 p.m. Eastern. If you haven't checked it out, yeah, go ahead and check that out. And yeah, I have to say, I have picked up, I think, quite a few good alternative comic reviews or independent comics to pick like a couple good recommendations just from their channel. And Rumpus Room is definitely one of them here. And by the way, too, Marcus. No, not Marcus. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on names. He did a really great cover drawing for Comics Curing Cancer. He did a Hulk sketch cover. I'm not one who particularly goes for sketch covers, but that one was definitely striking to me, especially a Hulk one. So Rumpus Room, the second one just came out, and definitely a different kind of plot here. You see basically this billionaire rich guy. You kind of get the impression he's sort of like a Zuckerberg type of character, with a lot of weird art around his house. Is, for reasons unknown yet, seems to be gassing people and capturing them. We don't know what for. We don't even know who these people are quite yet. But it definitely is very interesting. The art itself is visually striking. You know, definitely one of the better done books I've seen in a while. And yeah, I dug it a lot. I actually, Mr. Bigger, how are you? How you doing? I actually messaged my LCS right after reading it, like, can you please make sure that I have the next few issues, because it is a 5-issue limited series. And yeah, it's interesting. It is very kind of quick paced. Like you could finish this in less than 5 minutes, to be honest with you. But again, intriguing enough that it held my interest to say I need to see the next installment. So again, we'll see what the wife thinks. It's definitely not a superhero story, so be warned of that. And let's see if there's anything else I want to bring up about this. No. Okay. Yeah, I recommend it. I saw Evil talking about it too. I haven't watched that particular episode. Evil does great reviews. He's not here right now, it looks like, but he does great comic book reviews. I think everybody here knows that. If there's a book I know that I'm looking forward to reading that he's going to review, I will not watch that one just because I don't want to be spoiled by anything. He's usually good about avoiding spoilers, though. All right, so why don't we just talk about the topic at hand here? So October was Italian American Heritage Month. If you don't travel, excuse me, if you don't follow me on IG, you may not know that I'm of Italian American descent myself. And this October, just as last October, every day in October, I've drawn a picture of a different notable Italian American, and I try to do a little bit of everything. Yes, the ones that you know and many that you don't know, because I'm really trying to not only just show off some art, but also educate a little bit. And for better for worse, I think I kind of have been doing that pretty well about that. I was thinking about doing this as an actual recorded video, but I figured, you know what? I'd rather do it as a discussion here. Last year, I had done a video on how there aren't, in these times when we're talking about representation, for better or for worse, no matter how you feel about more women characters or more Muslim characters or whatnot, everything that's going on basically with a lot of this Marvel's backlash right now. There aren't really a whole lot of great Italian American representations, in my opinion. It seems that the majority of Italian American characters introduced are either in the mob or mob related or vigilante related. And it was something like I almost kind of offered a challenge to creators like, hey, do better. And look, I don't obsess about, hey, what is this character's religious affiliation or what is their background? It's just something, though, that once I kind of honed in on, it seemed like a glaring kind of area that was missing, at least for me. So I wound up finding this list. This was originally published in 2021. I don't know how I missed it last year. From comicbookrevolution.com. And as you may know, I don't use a laptop, so I'm just going to kind of show you the iPad as we're going through this here. And this is a list the authors put together of top 10 Italian American superheroes. So I'm going to go through some of these entries, tell you what my perspective is. And look, if you guys want to jump in, this is a chat. It's not a lecture. Go right in. My website, I don't point that out as much as I should, so here I am. Okay, so he starts out, the author, let me see if it is a he. One name, Rock, so I don't know. I'm going to guess it's a he. Starts off with honorable mentions. So this list will go a little bit more than 10. And the first honorable mention is Catwoman. Catwoman happens to be a character I like a lot. I think she is one of those characters that we haven't necessarily seen that kind of big story for. I think we've gotten close on Tom King's run, and I think Cliff Chang's Catwoman Lonely City story was great for that. Hey, Durs, how are you? But let's see what this guy says. So, and Catwoman, to be honest, I didn't know it was Italian. Did you know that, honey?
No.
The DC Bombshells franchise kickoff in 2011 with some fantastic Aunt Lucia's Prince reimagined superheroes. Okay, let's talk about the artwork you picked. Never mind. So I didn't know this. Apparently, during the Bombshells book, Marguerite Bennett retconned her as Italian. Her name was Selina Degatti, which is a clever last name. Degatti means of the cats in Italian. Um, and here he's referring to, again, this is the how Catwoman appeared in the Bombshells book. Here. So, Hattie, what do you think of that cover first?
It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad.
It's not bad.
I mean, this one doesn't particularly bother me that much. Yeah, Catwoman's a jewel thief, but I don't think there's anything kind of like necessarily, I would say, derogatory.
The way she's sitting, maybe.
Is Halle Berry Italian? Maybe. No. I'm talking about the character itself. This is just the picture.
Oh, I'm talking about the picture.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm talking about the character.
Yeah.
So I think that's fine. Again, I mean, Catwoman, I never thought of as Italian. I don't know. Just my pick. The guy put Zachary Zatara as an honorable mention. I'm not even going to go into it. I thought he was only in one book. That's is he? I was trying to think. I thought he was like a younger brother to Zatanna. I could be wrong on that. I mean, again, as far as I know, he appeared in one story and was just kind of there. I'm fine with it, you know. Okay, next one is a character I am familiar with, and that is Scorpion. I'll show you the picture. This might not be the Scorpion you think it is, from Marvel Comics. Yeah. She was in, there was a run of Amazing Fantasy in the early 2000s. Yeah, I see. I'm reading a little bit more here. Created by Fred Van Lente. I remember liking her stories a lot. I forgot that she was in the MODOK series on Hulu. Yeah, but she wasn't. Okay. That was the mother, though. Never mind. I like that they kind of made her like another Contessa. Yeah, I got no problem with this one either, even though, you know, if anything, it's kind of interesting because if I remember right, the mother worked for Hydra and she kind of rebelled against the mother. So you had a little bit of a spy drama in that. Especially that run of Amazing Fantasy, if you've never read that, is a great run. I think that, what's her name, Arachna's first appearance kind of overshadows everybody, or all the other issues in it, I should say. But yeah, no, I have no problem with that. The next is Diva. This is a character I wasn't really familiar with until I saw this list. It's a Wildstorm character that first appeared in Stormwatch #1 back in March 1993. Reading the article. I own Stormwatch #1. I remember reading it as a kid and being confused as hell. Maybe it was just something I shouldn't have read, but who knows. Brian, how are you, sir? The Godfather is in, all the way down from South Carolina. If you're unfamiliar, Diva is a Wildstorm hero who has been played by two sisters, Alessandra and Isabella Fermi. The Fermi sisters are the daughters of the famous Italian opera singer Diva. Oh, no, Italian opera singer. Okay, that's a period. Never mind. Diva was created by Brandon Choi and Jim Lee. Alessandra assumed the mantle of Diva. She has the power to project sonic vibrations with her voice, kind of like Banshee from the X-Men. She died in Stormwatch 23. At that point, Isabella assumed the mantle of Diva. Let's see. Isabella as Diva was created by Christos Gage. I like Christos Gage. And first appeared in Stormwatch Post-Human Division. I mean, she's okay. Nothing I'm really familiar with. Again, she was just kind of like an honorable mention for this author. It sounds like she might have been a fan favorite. Nerdy Wedge jumping in. Halle Berry's mom is English and German descent, and her dad is African American. Very cool to learn that the Catwoman character. I didn't know that. Yeah, and I kind of feel like that might be like a temporary thing, to be honest with you, because it was a retcon. Yeah, interesting fact, and I didn't draw this up for this year, but honey, did you know this? Guess which singer? And this would be like one of the last people you think. Guess which singer is Italian American? Younger singer, not Lady Gaga.
Ariana Grande.
She is. I think she's everything though. Alicia Keys.
Really?
Alicia Keys apparently is part Italian. I had no idea. I know her mom was white, but I didn't know.
Yeah, she said mix. I know that.
Yeah. Okay, so we're jumping into the top 10 now. Argent. Argent is not a character I'm familiar with. Like from what I've read, she was a Teen Titans character that has not really been utilized within the past decade. So we'll see what the author here says. Argent's real name is Antonia Louise Monetti. Argent was created by Dan Jurgens and first appeared in Teen Titans Volume 2. Teen Titans Volume 2, number 1 in October 96. Originally, Argent was able to generate solid energy constructs out of silver plasma. Later on, Argent's powers evolved to the point where she could fly and create complex energy constructs. Think of Argent like a silver version of Green Lantern. Another reason that I like Argent's character is her amazing original costume. Okay. Argent was a member of the Teen Titans and remained connected to the Titans franchise even after leaving the roster. Played a role in Final Crisis. I don't remember her there. But she's not been utilized that much by DC in the past decade. Okay. Yeah, nothing really bad there. Giovanni Zatara. I think this is Zatanna's father. Again, I don't go deep with DC. I don't hide that at all. He's been a member of the All-Star Squadron, Justice Society of America, and Justice League. Hey, Trev. He is dead, right? So he doesn't appear that much, but I don't know. Again, that one I don't have an issue with. This next one, to be honest with you, I have to look into. I didn't think this was an Italian character at all. If you're familiar with New Mutants, or excuse me, not New Mutants, Young X-Men from the early 2000s, there's a character by the name of Rockslide. I'll show you two right now. And he's not a Thing ripoff, I'll say that. He does look like Rocks. But he was a member of the Hellions and later a member of the New X-Men and Young X-Men. His name is Santo Vaccaro. I don't know why. I always thought he was Latin. I didn't think he was Italian. He has superhuman strength, endurance, durability, and the ability to fire his hands as projectiles. Santo possessed some traditional Italian-American personality traits, including having a brash bravado and a quick temper. I think that's a little bit of projection on the the writer of the article's part, to be honest with you. Yeah, he does have a lot of potential. Doing the asterisk, this was written in 2021. If you've been reading House of X and Powers of X, you know that early on in the series, you may know he had a major accident, why don't we say, and they really haven't touched on that now that I think about that. Since then, I think maybe that might be just kind of like a victim of Hickman's departure. I will say that one character that is on the list from the New X-Men that I know is Italian American that I thought was a good representation was the character by the name of Hellion. Not connected to crime or anything like that. Just a pretty good character. Next up, number 7 is The Darkness. I remember The Darkness. When I started to read comics, like this probably goes back to high school to me. I'll show you here. And The Darkness was initially, if memory serves, a spinoff of Witchblade, which was another book I read in high school. Maybe for other reasons. But yeah, are you familiar with The Darkness, honey? So his whole thing, he is, I'll read the article, see if they can sum it up better than I do. The Darkness is a cosmic entity. Is he cosmic? I don't know if I'd say that. That selected Jackie Escato as a host. Jackie was created by Mark Silvestri, Dave Ball, and Garth Ennis, and first appeared in Witchblade number 10 in November 96. Yep, when I was in high school. Jackie is definitely a badass character. I wouldn't go that far either, to be honest with you. He is an ex-mafia member, strike one for me, who uses the powers of the darkness to brutalize his enemies. So basically, what he does is he can conjure or summon these little demon and goblin-like creatures from the shadows. And he's powered, if I remember correctly, by shadows. Yeah, and, I mean, the article goes on to show he's, in this guy's mind, a classic 90s character, long hair and armor look. What is cool about Jackie's powers is that he evolved over time. So learning the powers of darkness were varied and diverse and only limited by his imagination. All in all, Jackie's an impressive power set that made him a heavy hitter, capable of going toe to toe with just about anyone. Um, I know that they've tried to reboot the character a couple times, or the series a couple times. I don't know what happened after the initial first run. I remember trying to read it, and I remember for the most part enjoying it, but I think that at that point, Image was having a lot of delays. Um, so it just kind of fell off my radar completely. Um, I don't. I tend not to like this character because, again, the first arc of the story, I should say, very much dealt with mafia and crime. I was like, we don't need that.
You like that?
Wouldn't he lose his powers if he had sex? I vaguely remember something like that, but I could be wrong. And I remember, yeah, I mean, Sarah Pazzini was the Witchblade. She was Italian as well. But it's, you have to understand that when my wife just said I like mafia stories, and I'll watch a mob movie, I think the ones that I tend to favor are ones that they're telling a different kind of story in it. For example, Goodfellas is one that she's seen me watch a few
They're all
times.
the same.
They're not,
They are.
because Goodfellas is at the heart of it, in my opinion, a discussion on, really, most of Scorsese's movies are like this. What is a hero? Who is the main character? And in this, I mean, you kind of learn that if you're rooting for these guys throughout the movie, you're really rooting for the bad guy. But that Goodfellas is a whole nother discussion. But no, not all mob movies are
They're
made
pretty
equal.
similar.
I mean, that's a very broad
It's really not.
stroke. Fanboy, I think you're right, but to be honest with you, I don't remember much about Witchblade, excuse me, Darkness that far. I do remember back in the day, one of the first Xbox 360 video games that I think I rented from, what was that mail order game service? It was kind of like Netflix. If you wanted to reserve a game, you could put it online and they mailed you the disc. I don't know. I remember enjoying that game a lot. Number 6, a character again I knew was Italian. I didn't really ever consider that was Strong Guy, from X Factor, Guido Carcella. Created by Chris Claremont and Bill Sienkiewicz. First appeared in New Mutants number 29. Powers include super strength, absorbing kinetic energy, and using to embrace his strength. One fascinating twist on Guido's mutant ability is that he is in constant physical pain. This is a wonderfully juxtaposed with his personality, which is always one of being a comedian. Okay. I didn't know they made a second one, Chris. Played the first one. I know about the second one. Yeah, the writer of the article is getting into it here. He kind of blossomed during Peter David's run on X Factor between 2005 and 2013. That is more or less, that's one of my kind of essential runs I recommend. This guy puts a lot of introduction, and that's why I'm kind of like, I don't really have any issue with Guido, Strong Guy. I thought at some point he was could be wrong, that he was a former security guard for a singer, but here we go. Okay, number 5, Contessa Valentina Allegra Di Fontaine, a character who got a little bit of attention following the Black Widow film, because of her appearance, and has very much been had a major hand in at least this last kind of phase of the Marvel films. Whether you enjoyed it or not, it seems like she's being billed to be building the Thunderbolts team, the Thunderbolts film at least, which we haven't really heard a lot about lately. come to think of it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this one, kind of like Scorpion, you have a very kind of spy-driven character, classic Steranko character. Um, I have no problem with it, and I'm really interested in seeing what she brings to the MCU in Thunderbolts and beyond that. Witchblade, we talked about Witchblade already. She's a cop, you know. I think she was a good character, not a great character. And again, I know that they continued with the series for quite a long time. They've tried to reboot it a couple times. I don't know. After high school, I kind of got disinterested with Witchblade myself. Number 3 on their list is Huntress. Huntress is a character I spotlighted when I did this discussion last year. Her real name is Helena Rose Bertolini, Rosa Bertolini, created by Joey Cavallari and Joe Stanton. Let me see here. I mean, again, the only thing that the author doesn't really get into it too much. The only thing that I don't like about Huntress's character is that, again, it is very much steeped into the stereotypes of Italians being involved with the mafia. If you saw the Birds of Prey film, then you kind of know what I mean here. I will say this: I remember reading her limited series in the 2000s. I think Adam Hughes did the art. I don't remember who wrote it. I don't know. Like, that's what I said. Like, why do you have to tie it back to that? Yeah, I mean, overall, I think she's a good character with a bad background. I don't know if that makes a whole lot of sense here. So, yeah, those upcoming Marvel movies appear to be in chaos. You know what? I think a lot of that is conjecture. Only because we haven't seen. Last week, somebody said Jonathan Majors was fired. Excuse me. And they clarified. They pointed to the article and they said, "Oh no, he really hasn't been." I mean, my only thought on that whole kind of stuff is, look, he's going to have his day in court. We're something that we're all guaranteed to. I'm just as interested in seeing what happens as the next person. If he is guilty, yes, he should be written out and then some. If not, then we're really, I think, barking up the wrong tree. From early reports and what I sound, it sounds like it's more than meets the eye as far as the actual issue goes. But again, I mean, we'll all see when it goes to court. I will say this: I think that Jonathan Majors has done a wonderful job as Kang so far. My wife and I have been watching the Loki series. He's been doing great in that. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Even my wife didn't like Hulky season 1. Hulky, excuse me. Loki season 1 at all, and she's loving this season.
Yeah, this season is better.
Yeah, and the Echo trailer does look great. I'm really looking forward to that. Number 2, Zatanna. Again, didn't know she was Italian. Got no problem with this one. I like Zatanna. I feel like she's kind of a dark horse type of character. Trying to just see again if this author is adding anything to it. And I say dark horse type of character is, I think that she's one of those characters that, if you read the comics, you may know. If you look at the TV, how about the cartoons? I'm not big into the cartoons, but if you look at just the television programs and the films, you're not going to know. And I kind of like that about her. Yeah, I think she is DC's premier kind of magic heavy hitter, as this person says here too. And I have not read her solo title by Paul Dini from 2010 to 11. I'll check that on the DC app though. Yeah, I got no problem with that character. So there were some comments here I wanted to see. Fanboy, is it wrong that I prefer the stereotype take versus the representation take? When it comes to Hispanic/Mexican culture in comics, the cultural representation usually comes off insulting to me. You know what it is? Excuse me. I think that it's like anything else. If it's not bashed over the head, and this is on anything, really, with cultural representation or gender representation, anything like that, if it doesn't bash you over the head to say, hey, you know, I I'm here because I'm filling a quota seemingly, then it's done well. And I point to, and I mentioned a little bit a while ago, Peter David's X Factor run, actually for that reason. You think about it, Peter David was dealing with a lot of complex issues in that story. Um, on a bigger cultural level, you had two long-standing X-Force, X Factor characters come out as gay. Um, you had really kind of, I think, a fleshing out of the story of M, um, alcoholism. Like there were a lot of these heavy issues in that, but he didn't say, "I'm doing this to do this." Like it all felt very natural and organic. Um, I think if more writers approached the material that way, you wouldn't have so many people feeling like they were polarized and whatnot. But I mean, I'll say this too. I know a lot of people have been giving Ms. Marvel some hate lately for a lot of the same reason. Like, well, we're being force fed this character. It's like, no, you're not. I think it's on us as collectors to be able to say, well, this isn't made for me or this isn't meant for me. And that's okay. I can appreciate it on a different level, or I can just go and read or do something else. That's the great thing about comics is that no matter what you're into, there's a book about it pretty much. Brian, we are on baby watch. She's feeling okay. Just very tired. We're just kind of waiting. I think that's the best way to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my wife had a concern that, well, what if I go into labor while you're streaming? I was like, look, I'll stop the stream. That's fine. No point in doing it there. I mean, and Fanboy, let me get back to one other thing too. Like my issue is, and I'll say this author has done a great job in this article pointing out characters who don't push this. Hey, he's an Italian American character, and he's based out of, his background is in the mafia or organized crime or this or that. That's kind of what annoys me more. And look, I'm not. I think it's all about nuance, um, not bashing over the head with it. I guess that's the best way to say it. But his number one pick for this article, which I wasn't surprised, was the Punisher. Um, I feel mixed about this because, again, you have a character who is very much involved and steeped in crime. I think a fair amount of his stories, good, bad, or other, do involve him going up against the mafia. And yeah, for that reason, I'm like, can you do? I don't know. Like as an Italian American, it just doesn't represent well, I guess you could say. I mean, I guess you could say yes, but he's going up against the mob, but still very kind of crime related. Like, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not one to obsess about fictional characters' background, but to me, it would just make it more interesting if you incorporated some of these. What's the word I'm looking for? I think some nuances about Italian American culture and growing up Italian American. And yeah, I don't know. I think it just makes the characters more interesting. Wellbore is mostly Scottish, but he feels fat bastard was spot on. Well, to each their own. I did find another quick list just on Wikipedia, and we covered most of these characters. To be honest with you, the others that are mentioned on this are characters I'm unfamiliar with, and I think might be just kind of minor characters. So I'm going to just skip over that. But yeah, either way, I'm just hoping, again, if we're talking about representation in comics, which is, again, a thing that I don't think is going away. I don't think it's a topic that's going to be going away anytime soon. Go back to some of these other characters too, other backgrounds, I should say, and really flesh them out. That was my topic of discussion for today. Again, in case you missed it at the beginning of the show, we are on Baby Watch, so content has been a little slow to come. I do have one video that's already done and will be released on Monday. That is a really good and my most surprising unboxing, I have to say, from Reggie. Uh, it does revolve around Marcus. I haven't read it yet. I haven't read Marcus yet, but this is just kind of the unboxing. We are going to have, not Fat Bastard, we are going to have at least one art related video this week, and I am intending on editing the second part of our walking series, I guess, my kind of history with art itself. But that's all I have for this week, and I'm kind of losing my voice a little bit. So I do appreciate you guys sticking around, and I appreciate you being patient with the channel too, just while we go through some of these, growing pains, I guess you could say. Be back next week. Again, I'm hoping to have more content here for you this week. But we're going to be making, I think, a big announcement soon. I'm going to try to wait until after the baby's born to do it, just about the future of the channel and how I'd like to see the channel grow. So stay tuned for that. And also, it's going to have a lot to do with how I've done giveaways in the past. So I hope it's something that you guys tune into. Either way, again, as always, I appreciate you guys giving me a little bit of your weekend here. And I hope that you guys do something cool even away from comics this week. That being said, peace, love, and comics. Take care.